Hey folks, Captain Jim coming to you with another riding video. A little different this time. I'm out on a newly acquired Suzuki Burgman 200 scooter. Yep, picked up another scooter. And I'm going to do a little ride and a little review on it today. Starting out, I'm going to give you some of the specifications, things that most folks are interested in. The Burgman 200 has a curb weight of 364 pounds, a seat height of just under 29 inches. It's marketed as a 200, and surprisingly, it is actually 200 cc's, which is unusual in that 200 class of scooters. Most of them are less than that. The bike has its fuel injected. It's a single-cylinder engine, as most of the scooters are, and water-cooled. It has disc brakes on the front and rear. I'm not sure of the size, but they do a darn fine job. It also has ABS braking on it. And the front tire is 13-inch, and the rear tire is 12-inch. So close to the specs as far as tire size on the last two Vespas that I had. Those are both 12 inches front and rear. The ride on this is very Vespa-like to me. I expected it to be more like the PCX 150s that we had, and this bike feels a lot more solid than the PCXs did. More aligned to how the Vespa is. And, well, let's take it out on the road. You take a look here and enjoy the video, a little bit of music, and I'll come back more with some observations. Somebody's gonna ask, but that's South Mountain in the southern Phoenix area that I'm riding on this road. Happens to be a really great ride. It's only about 7 miles long. There's a couple little offshoots of it where you can gain a few more miles. But the really nice thing for me is that it's less than 15 minutes from our home in the Phoenix area. So to get out and just do an hour or so ride, man, it's great. A little bit more about that Suzuki Burgman and why I chose to get another scooter. No plans on giving up the Honda CTX. I love that bike. Was looking for something a little smaller, a little easier, a little lighter weight. I'm not getting any younger, and there's times when I just want to bebop around, and wasn't really interested in getting another Vespa. I've had a couple of those, but I wanted something bigger than the typical 150cc class scooter that would actually do highway speeds. Now, like a Honda PCX or an ADV 160, it'll go 65 miles an hour, maybe a little bit more than that. And a lot of talk on the internet forums about what the top speed of a scooter is. And I'd like to have a little bit in reserve. And I had read that this Burgman will do 75 miles an hour pretty comfortably on the freeway. Riding it home from the dealer where I bought it, I found out that was the case. The speedometer on the bike is a little bit optimistic, about 5%. When it said I was doing 75 miles an hour, I was doing 71 or 72, verified by GPS on the bike, and also my wife driving back behind me in the car on the way back from the dealership. What surprised me about the Burgman is, even running it up at higher speeds than that, it had pretty decent highway manners. It didn't get blown around. There's a little turbulence as you go by semis and that, but in the grand scheme of things, a really nice ride on the highway. Now, if I was going to be looking to do nothing but highway miles, I can guarantee you I'm going to have a bigger bike than that to be doing it on. But for the getting from one end of town to the other here in Phoenix, you need to have something that can be highway capable. If the speed limit is 65, most everybody on the in-town freeway is going to be doing more like 70, 75, maybe even higher than that. So it's I saw an article recently that said the Honda NC750X was one of the most practical motorcycles made. And I understand that with the frunk that it has in it, and you pair that up with a dual clutch transmission that's available in that bike, and I see why they'd say it was so practical. I have to say that this little Burgman is probably the most practical scooter that I've owned anyway, and for the smaller 150 to 200cc class, I think it fits that bill very nicely. The fact that it is a true 200cc bike and that it will do an honest 75 miles an hour with a little bit in reserve makes it easy to take on the road and to use when riding in any kind of an area where you have to ride the freeways to get to the good stuff. Also, it has a huge underseat storage area. It holds my full-face modular extra large helmet with plenty of room left over to put a riding jacket in there, or if riding back from the store, if I want to carry groceries in there, it works great for that. One word of caution, it gets a little warmer under that seat than other scooters that we've owned. And in terms of comparing it with like the Vespa GTS, I had two different examples of that scoot. This has definitely more storage under the seat. I don't feel a need to add a top case to this. And there's a little cubby storage in the right-hand side on the dash, and then it's got a we'll call it a glove box down the middle on the front leg shield area, pretty similar to what the Vespa GTS has. So you can carry quite a bit of stuff under there. And it also has a 12-volt receptacle in that glove box. Now, I don't need much of anything that plugs into 12 volt, but you can buy a little adapter to plug in there, and that gives me a couple of USB-C connections, and so I can power my phone and one of my 360 cameras when on the scoot with that, as long as you buy a cable that's flat so that you can close that glove box door. And in terms of why another scooter, I just like them. They're hard to beat in terms of bopping around. I'm loving the ride that I can do on South Mountain, and all the riding that we've enjoyed most over the past 5 or 6 years has been in the Black Hills on all those great twisty roads there. We are planning to be at Beat the Heat rally in Maggie Valley area in North Carolina later this summer, and so I have to decide whether I'm taking this little Burgman or the CTX. For sure, Joan will have her X-Max. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, the X-Max is a Yamaha 300cc scooter, and that thing is, in my estimation, probably one of the best scooters going, and I would have absolutely bought one of those if that scoot fit me better. That's a little bit taller seat height, enough so that I can't plat my feet down flat on that, and the seating position sets me up a little more straight upright than I like. Joan loves that bike because it does fit her, and of course we had to take both bikes out and do a little run on them, one against the other and that, and her X-Max just trounced the little Burgman in terms of acceleration and top speed and that, but not embarrassingly so. It's if we're going to be riding together, I'll be able to keep up with her under normal circumstances. But for those of you who have never tried a scooter, when Joan suggested to me that we get a pair of scooters 10 years ago, I gotta say I was absolutely not in favor of that. I'm a motorcycle guy. I need to shift. I need to feel some horsepower between my knees there. Well, a deteriorating hip made that tough for me to throw a leg over, and her idea of getting a couple of small scoots is what kept me riding. And even now with a new titanium hip and I can throw a leg over a motorcycle again, I just love the feel of these scooters. They're easy, they're lightweight, and they are a lot of fun, and you can take a scooter fast through curves that a bigger, heavier bike may not be able to do. But I'm not trying to sell you on the scooter, just telling you a little bit about the new Burgman 200, and gonna wrap that up for now. Thanks for riding along.